Now the Nigerian government is faulting the closure of business premises belonging to Nigerians by the Ghanaian authorities. It says it may consider retaliatory actions. The government also said it might drag Ghana to the Community Court of Justice of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, if found to have breached the sub-region protocol of free movement of people. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, AFRIYIE, said this in Abuja on Monday during a meeting with a delegation of League of Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria led by President Jasper Emenike, which briefed him on the harassment of Nigerian traders in Ghana. Ghanaian officials reported they sealed off the shops belonging to Nigerian traders in Accra for allegedly failing to have the $1 million equity stipulated by the Ghana Investment Promotions Council.
Well, joining us now to discuss the plight of the traders in Ghana and counter-allegations is Yor AFRIYIE, MD at ELMINA Advisory Limited. Yor, great to have you with us on NEWSDAY today. Many thanks for honouring our invitation and coming to speak about this. I guess my first question to you, I mean, you already know about the alarm that has been raised with regards to Nigerian traders and their shops being closed down. Chukwuemeka Naji, who is the president of the Nigerian Traders Union in Ghana, said that the shops were locked up because Ghanaian authorities actually started to require evidence of the Ghana Investment Promotion Council registration, stating that if they did not have that, they had to pay $1 million for it, or their shops would be closed. Can you give us some more information on these GIPC regulations? Because the main thing here is that they seem to contradict ECOWAS protocols on the free movement of people across West Africa.
Well, thank you very much. And I think you're right in the context that you have set out. So according to the GIPC Act 2013, Act 865, Section 28.2, the minimum capital required for retail business held by foreign nationals was increased from $300,000 to $1 million in 2012, I believe. And this statute seems quite prohibitive to commerce and to the ECOWAS protocol, but it was brought about because of the crowding out of Ghanaian businesses in their own retail space, particularly in goods trading, exporting, and other small enterprises that the government believes should be the preserve of Ghanaians to be able to address the employment issue. With this perceived suffocation, Ghanaian businesses believe that their margins are effective. They essentially have been crowded out of their retail space by the sheer influx of goods supplied by, the much more elastic Nigerian traders, and who, of course, seem to have much more of a broader financial muscle. And with this as a context, this very prohibitive, legislation, has been in effect, but the difficulty has been around its implementation since it was enacted.
At a point in time, Nigeria and Ghana had, sports between just the two countries. I am wondering what the Ghanaian authorities are doing. How much damage is this going to do to the relationship, or has done actually, the relationship between Ghana and Nigeria? How much damage?
I think it's difficult to measure the extent of the damage, but clearly at the trading and commercial level, this agitation, which is nothing new, this has been preceded this current situation. It dates as far back from the 1960s, exacerbated in the 70s, the 90s, and here we are at this juncture. I think that diplomacy in the past has always won things, but with the more the agitations which has taken a form of violence and people taking the law in hand, I think that it has left a sour taste in the mouth of the Nigerian authorities, and I believe rightly so. The president last year in December intervened on a similar matter and called the parties to the Jubilee House to adjudicate over trading issues. And I believe that we should isolate the Nigerian and Ghanaian sort of diplomatic and bilateral relationship on one side and deal with the trading matters on another, because I believe that Nigerian businesses operate freely and fairly in the banking sectors in Ghana, in the upstream states, in telecommunications, etc. And Duterte is saying that they welcome Nigerian enterprises. I believe that the Ghanaian authorities are also sympathetic to Nigerian businesses, and in fact, we need the foreign direct investment from Nigeria as one of our trading partners. But in this particular retail space, I believe that we should separate the arguments, separate the diplomacy, and address this particular matter, because that seems to be the bone of contention between Ghana and Nigeria at any present moment within the last decade or so.
All right, I would like you to shed more light on this GIPC registration fee for the major reason, because I want to know, were similar actions carried out? Is it just limited to Nigerians, or were similar actions taken out on other nationalities doing business in Ghana? Because people have actually accused Ghanaians and the Ghanaian authorities of xenophobic attack towards Nigerians. Remember, back in July, Nigeria's High Commission in Ghana was demolished without due notice, and we're seeing this happen again. There seems to be a trend of events happening between Ghanaians and targets towards Nigerians.
Okay, so to the first part of your question, the compliance regime set out by the GIPC Act, it's a carte blanche. It cuts across the entire spectrum. So all foreign participants in Ghana are required to essentially comply with this legislation. So the Lebanese community, the Indians, the Chinese, etc. But in the case of the perceived victimization of Nigerians, those that I've spoken to in the trading space tell me that it is by sheer number, because of the sheer volume of Nigerians participating in the space, which which suggests rather that the Ghanaian trading unions are targeting Nigeria. I have conducted some searches this morning, and it turns out that there are almost about 200 stores which are currently locked up, trading in electricals, trading in spare parts, textiles, and other things. So it looks as though that how the modus operandi of Nigerians in the retail space is also quite different to the Indian and other nationalities, whereas the other nationalities use Ghanaians as a front for their businesses. Nigerians, being as enterprising and daring, have gone beyond using Ghanaians as fronts and are now manning the stores and trading themselves. And from a visual perspective, it breeds resentment, because the unions are saying that they don't mind Nigerians trading if only they will comply. And so, in answering the question succinctly, the Act cuts across. It is for all foreign participants, and not just Nigerians, but because of the sheer numbers of Nigerians trading in the space, that is what has lent to the kind of action, enforceable action at that, towards Nigeria. On the second part of the question, I don't believe that there will be xenophobic attacks. I think that the history between the two countries has been one of friendship, it has been cordial, most times socially, politically, on numerous levels, there is close collaboration and cooperation. But I believe that if the Ghanaian government, particularly in this instance, do not address each trade issues at the Economic Communication for Africa level, at the ECOWAS level, and also bilaterally with the Nigerian government on this particular trade matter, it would spiral out of control. Because as I have said, Nigerians operate larger businesses in this country, like the banking sector, for example, upstream oil and gas, downstream telecommunications, and even other strategic sectors of the economy. And I believe that, inching closer to the election, some of these agitations will play to the benefit of the political establishment. And if such situations are not carefully handled and political expediency sets in, it will spiral out of control.
Very well said, Yor. And I mean, it is one thing that we don't want to spiral out of control. I mean, as Nigerians and Ghanaians, we can sit here and argue about our jollof rice, but we cannot afford to have our bilateral relationships affected. Which leads me to ask you, it's interesting that this is occurring now because the first Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is set to take place on the 1st of January next year, 2021. So don't you think that additional protectionism laws like this are really going to just pose as a hurdle to the AFCFTA?
Well, just to put this in context, this legislation was brought about before the subsequent amendment to the ECOWAS trading treaties. And so in that respect, I believe that the directives and regulations as set out by ECOWAS protocol ought to take effect. But as my research has identified, in 2009, this was challenged. This act was challenged in the ECOWAS court in Abuja, and those who took it to court essentially were defeated. So the court upheld that the GIPC Act was essentially the right legislation and lent all the support to sovereignty, which this act clearly demonstrates. Now, with Ghana now as the secretariat for the Africa AFTA, I believe the government needs to sit down, review some of these laws, and in the interest of continental free trade, in the interest of some of the spirit of the ECOWAS trading protocol, they should set out clear parameters as to what constitutes a foreign participant, whether the ECOWAS parties will be subjected to such provisions. They should identify, separate, and where possible, make very clear provisions, particularly in respect of this act. Because, again, I believe that this act was brought about with the right spirit. But of course, if you look at some of the provisions of the capital requirement, I mean, $1 million is a huge amount of money for any business, let alone a trading business. And I believe that if Nigerian traders or other West African traders had $1 million, they would not come together.
Yor AFRIYIE, many thanks.
Thank you so much.